Studies. To my right is Amanda Brzezowski. She is the senior here. And then at the end is David Fiorenzo, one of our professors of economics. I know that some of you have been here at some point in the past, I'm guessing, and maybe for many of you this is your first time on campus. It really is. I'm sure as you're beginning this journey of checking out various colleges and universities and doing your web research and so forth, that certainly adds one dimension. There's a lot of factual information that you'll learn about colleges through rankings and all kinds of other information that's out there. But it really is a great opportunity today to get to know the campus in a much more personal way. The one thing we take a lot of pride in at Villanova is the experience that we have here that really comes to life when you have a chance to talk with some of the administration, some of the faculty, and some of our students. So I really encourage you to do everything you can today to kind of test us a little bit on the experiential side, because that is certainly one of our particular strengths today. And we will be around for the next 3 or 4 hours, so we have any number of opportunities to talk to anyone. We're very proud that Villanova University and the Villanova School of Business is really at a very, very exciting time in its course of history. You couldn't hear the sound very well, but the pictures reflected a lot of the vibrancy that's occurring here on campus. We have a new president, a relatively new president as of 4 years ago, Father Peter Donahue. We have undergone a strategic planning process, a campus master planning process. There's a number of things that have really been put in motion here that really adds to the energy and the excitement and the future confidence that we have about the university. In addition, we're getting unprecedented attention externally for the university and also for the business school. We've been pleased that from a school that probably was better known regionally, I would say going back maybe a dozen years ago, has been great in the last 5, 6 years to be getting a lot of attention on a national level. All of our business programs now are ranked in the top 25 nationally, in some cases internationally, by a variety of ranking institutions. So that's good confirmation of some of the things you're doing. I really, as a dean and as a father of a couple of current college students, I recommend that you don't overplay things that happen in a lot of the rankings, but you look at those as part of the whole package. It gives you a sense of the way the schools and the universities view externally. I also, as a father of a couple students, I recognize the complexity of the decision that you are going through. And one of the things I'm very attuned to, and something that we really don't want to gloss over, is the fact that you're making a major investment. And as a dean of a business school, I'd be remiss if I didn't think about return on investment. I certainly do it with my 2 college students as I pay that tuition bill. So I recognize the cost of education and where it is. And so what we look at here is how are we going to assure that you're going to get the best bang for your buck when you're making that decision, when you're making that investment in our program. And so to assure that, we work quite aggressively across the board to assure that our programs are particularly relevant, to assure that they're rich in terms of the education that happens in that. We provide a lot of support throughout the business school. You'll get a chance later today. I encourage you to stop in at a place on our main floor. They're called the Clay Center, which is a center we established about 3 years ago, specifically designed to provide a range of supports to our students, be it professional support, personal support, through that operation, and Dean German oversees that particular center. We kind of look at it as a one-stop shop. It's a place where any of our students can drop in with whatever issue they might have, whether it's a problem they're having in one of the courses, whether it's something they're thinking about for how they're going to spend their summer, whether they're looking for a co-op experience, an internship, a full-time job. It is a place where we have really energized to assure that our students get a high-quality level of professional and personal attention. To us, that's an important part of the return on investment that you expect on the school. The other thing that we're particularly proud of that has gotten quite a bit of attention, certainly within the academic industry as well, is what we've done with our undergrad curriculum. I encourage you to take a close look at it if you haven't, and today talk to some of the professors a bit about it. We made a very aggressive move 2, 3 years ago to implement a brand new undergrad curriculum. And what we did, we gathered a number of folks back about 4 years ago, including faculty, students, alums, recruiters. And what we decided to do at that point is every school kind of goes through this thing where there's one or two things that you can always address, whether it's, this course doesn't seem to be hitting right, or this isn't working the way we would have expected, or students aren't happy about X. But what we decided to do is let's move away from that. Let's not worry about just fixing things on the edges. Let's take a look at the whole picture here. What are students going to need in the business world in the year 2015, in the year 2020? How can we assure that our students coming out of our program, are the first that recruiters go to in terms of hiring, and that they're looked at by people that hire them as being particularly effective in their positions. So what we did is we redid the entire curriculum. And we heard a number of things from the people that hired our students. We heard a number of things, obviously, from our faculty and students as well, about trying to enrich the program and trying to even raise the bar and trying to prepare our students to be much deeper in their thinking, more complex in their decision making. And so we integrated a number of disciplines. Because one thing we've been hearing, I can tell you, as a business school educator for a number of years, we consistently hear about this thing about businesses don't operate in a silo. And it's been slow for business schools to react to that. But we really wanted to take an aggressive step toward that, to assure that different disciplines were taught with multiple faculty in the classroom, and that it was enriched with a number of experiences to bring that theory, the theory that happens in the classroom to life through the practice as well. So we have a lot of action learning projects, we have a lot of guest speakers that come into our programs, but we also look at disciplines in an integrated fashion. For example, our accounting and finance class used to be standalone classes. I'm sure any of you that have gone to undergrad business programs in the past, Accounting 101 and Finance 101. Well, for us now, that class is an integrated class. We have a finance professor and an accounting professor in the classroom at the same time, and they cover the material in an integrated fashion. Certainly, we assure that they've got a deep knowledge of the disciplines, but we also want to make sure they understand how that goes together. To give you just to build on that example, not everybody comes out of Villanova as an accounting major or a finance major, but everybody comes out of a program as a business leader. And so they need to understand, say, with financial information, how you use that information to make strategic decisions and managerial decisions. So for us, it was important that every one of our students has a rich education and a rich understanding of various disciplines, but in a more complex way. And I have to tell you, it's been painful if you talk to some of our students as they've made the transition through, because as they talk to people that have graduated, they might hear, well, boy, we had it a lot easier. And in some ways, we're kind of proud of that, I have to tell you. We do want to raise the bar. We do want students that come out of the Villanova School of Business to be the best prepared of any students out there. We do want students that go for it and get the types of jobs that they want and have success in their career to the extent we believe they should. And so it's something that we take really serious here. It's something that we understand as part of the return on investment that we expect you to get when you come to our programs. Some of that stuff about difficulty, that might resonate better with parents than it is with prospective students. But I assure you, as students, you quickly are out there start to think about where you're going in your career, and you do want to be prepared. And you want to make sure that you've got a number of opportunities out there, and that you're differentiated from students that are coming out of other schools. So it's something that we take quite seriously. So I encourage you today, during the day, talk to some of our professors about that. There's so much more too that wraps around besides our undergrad curriculum that you're going to find out. Our classes are taught by professors. So if you don't have a PhD program, so the people that you have in the classroom are our faculty. You have a very small, intimate environment here, so you get that personal attention. Our faculty care about students. We have a deep tradition of that. And as a result, they get to know who you are, they get to know your issues, they get to understand your career and where you're going. That's another thing that really enriches the experience. I also mentioned that we've been really working aggressively too to bring the theory to life, in the practice of management. I was looking at a list of folks that were on campus in recent months to talk to our students. Bill McDermott, CEO of SAP. John Hayes, the Chief Marketing Officer of American Express. Jeff Miller, President of Worldwide Post-Production at Walt Disney Studios is here. Gary Loveland, the CEO of Harris Entertainment. We just received confirmation that Jeff Amell, the CEO of BP, is going to be here to speak and meet with our students. So we try to do everything we can to show how this needs to play out. We do everything we can to provide examples of leaders and leadership to make our curriculum come to life. So I encourage you today to do everything you can to get to know us. There's a lot of factual information around our programs, but again, a lot of this comes down to the people. You want to be at a place where the administration, where the faculty, where the students all care about your success. And I assure you that's something that I take seriously as being here, and something I hope that you're going to see throughout your time here today. So thank you very much for being with us. I look forward to talking to you one-on-one later on this morning. And with that, I'm going to turn the podium over to our Director of International Studies, Lance Kenny. An important part of our program is our global education, and Lance Kenny is the Director of International Studies here for Villanova University, not just for the business school. And he'll share with you some of the things that are going on with respect to our global education. Lance?
Good morning and welcome. Again, my name is Lance Kenny. I'm the Director of International Studies here at Villanova University. Opportunities like this, and we had Parents Weekend last weekend, are always great for me. Obviously, the priority is to talk to students and tell you about what it is that we're doing. For me, it's interesting also being able to talk to the parents, because in some ways I'm at the opposite end of the spectrum than you are, as I have 2 children under 3. And so I am very much, in fact, I heard this in the car on the way in, I'm very much the victim of the Bill Cosby curse, which is your parents telling you, I hope you have children like you. Just a couple days ago, I was talking to my dad about the fact that both of them, quick not to find a point on it, that they won't shut up. And he said, see, this is what you deserve. Wait until they start correcting you. And sure enough, just a couple days ago, my son, as we're getting ready to go traveling, I said to him, we're at the potty trade, son, do you need to go in the potty? Dad, you don't go on the potty, you go in the potty. That's disgusting. So it's always flattering to be corrected by a 3-year-old. So toward this humor aside, what I'm here to talk to you about today are the many global opportunities that exist for students here at Villanova University. Study abroad is typically something, traditionally, let's say, that one associated with disciplines in the arts. Language acquisition, or fine arts, studio arts, political science, things like this. As you can see from some of our stats there, we enjoy a lot of success at the university, specifically at the business school. Close to 50% of the students that are graduating from VSB have studied overseas, which is actually a higher participation rate than the other colleges, including arts and sciences. So study abroad enjoys a lot of support here at Villanova, but specifically in the School of Business from a top-down level. We're talking deans, associate deans, faculty chairs, things like that. Again, our numbers have been very good consistently over the years, to the point where, as you know from the last slide, we were ranked this year 5th in the nation for all master's universities with the number of students that were studying overseas. Probably not garnishing enough attention for us as the basketball or the football rankings, but something we're still very proud of in terms of our getting acknowledged by our peers. I want to touch on each of these differently, knowing that you're looking at other schools, and every university in the country basically is promoting study abroad right now. I want to talk to you very quickly about what it is that Villanova does that I think is different from some of our peer institutions. Those represent some of the cliches or the expressions that we use in our office the most, and I think these are the basis for how we approach what we do. The first is that we are predicated on cultural immersion. We are not interested in academic tourism, or what philosopher John Dewey called the spectator theory of knowledge. We want our students to be integrated as much as possible in the local culture, and in order to do that, when they meet with us on a one-on-one basis, they have to be able to enunciate to us a skill that they want to develop. Not a destination, not I have a friend that went to this country and I heard it was cool, but what is it in regards to your profession, your academic interest, or your personal interest that can help you frame what it is you want to do as part of your study abroad experience. We also are distinctive in that we do not have an approved list, which is to say that we do not give students a piece of paper with a list of programs on it and say you have to choose one of these programs or you don't go. We believe that students have the ability to make informed decisions about what is in their best interest. Instead, what we maintain is a list of criteria, whereby students can study on any program that they want to, as long as it meets a couple basic criteria, namely that they have to be at an accredited non-U.S. university, they have to be taught by faculty from the country where they're living, they have to have some sort of integrated living arrangement, and they have to be going with a nonprofit. Again, going back to our guiding philosophy of cultural immersion, the only time we make exception for that are for programs that are predicated on cultural immersion, such as internship programs, which may not necessarily be affiliated with in-country universities, but allow students to work full-time overseas. In fact, in that regard, a third of the VSP students that studied abroad last year were on internship programs. Basic administrative criteria, again, no approved list. We're looking for 275 and the students to not be on any sort of probation. The only parameter in terms of geography, the only places where we can't allow students to go, as per University Council, are those countries that are on the State Department travel warning list. These will be the places that you don't want to go anyway. Or as we always tell parents, weekend crowds, any place where you would have to enlist in order to get there is probably not going to be viable as a study abroad destination. Now, all of you obviously are looking for a business curriculum. I'm assuming that many of you as parents are already in the business field, and you may remember about 10 years ago, it was very trendy in business circles to talk about emotional intelligence. The idea that there are ways of measuring intelligence past IQ that reflect success in career or on-site job abilities or critical thinking. In the past couple of years, journals like the Harvard Business Review have taken that idea of emotional intelligence one step further and have started talking about cultural intelligence. The idea that for our students to be successful in business, to be leaders, to operate in an economy that has basically few or any barriers between international and domestic economy, students have to have exposure to different cultures, be able to interact in those cultures, and frankly, at the end of the day, we feel that the only way for students to develop that cultural intelligence is, again, for them to be as immersed as possible in the local culture. Again, I'm going to be present in Bartley in the atrium this afternoon during the open house, so I'm happy to talk to you about any specific questions you have about programs that are particular to Villanova. Again, these are just the ones that Villanova itself has designed. About a third of our students participate in these programs. What I would really like to talk to you about today is the Global Citizens Program. The Global Citizens Program is now in its 8th year. It's distinct to Villanova University, and then it allows second semester freshmen to spend a semester in London. The program is made available to students that are early action candidates for the Villanova School of Business. And in short, the students take 10 weeks of classes in London, taking classes that exactly mirror or parallel classes that the students would be doing here anyway. So in other words, everyone's graduating on time and has the same curriculum. Those classes are taught by faculty that we have hired as a university in classroom spaces we have rented. Going back to my concerns about cultural immersion, those who will set that question of immersion, at the completion of the 10 weeks of classes, the students do 6-week internships in London, and if any of you have been in London, in zones 1 and 2 in the heart of the city. Again, it's a Villanova specific course. There's staff on site that is looking after the students. We build in excursions. We're giving the students cell phones. They're living in Kensington, South Kensington specifically. From the student standpoint, this is an area where people like Hugh Grant and Orlando Bloom live, or people, for those of us that are more 8-track and a Blu-ray age, this is where Princess Di went to live after she was separated, so it's a pretty good neighborhood. Again, the program is distinctive in that the students are, again, replicating what they would be doing here, but adding on that internship and getting work experience early on in their freshman year that in many ways helps them, more so than the general curriculum, to focus on their interest, to decide what it is that they want to do. We've had students in big name internships, KPMG, or working on the stock exchange. We've had students in smaller businesses or NGOs. You may not have recognized the name. The point is, all students are placed individually, and they have the opportunity to not only participate in the program and get that leg up, but to see this as their first study abroad opportunity, so that they are studying abroad again later in their academic career. Again, I will be in the atrium during the open house hours. I know you probably have questions about the program. I'm happy to talk to you about all things associated with study abroad. Again, welcome, and please try and enjoy the day.
Thank you, Lance. I think even Hugh Grant has to be referenced. Yes. Working the word Snoopy gives a big deal. So Anyways, appreciate your comments, Lance. So really, the international side, as Lance pointed out, we're pleased that of our seniors, by the time they graduate, about 50% end up with international global experience during their time here, which is far away from the average. I think the average business goes down to about 8 to 10%. So we're very pleased that our students are that ambitious, and pleased that we've got excellent programs to help support that as well. We'd like to now hear from a couple students, from one of our faculty members. That's a way I think you'll get a little bit more intimate view on what's happening. They're always unscripted, so we're never quite sure what's going to come forth. But that's always a pleasant surprise for us as well. So we're going to hear first from one of our sophomores, Craig Stiles. Craig?
Morning, everyone. My name is Craig Stiles, and I'm a sophomore finance and economics double major, business law, and corporate governance minor from Roseland, New Jersey. Although I'm only a sophomore, I participated in a number of activities and student organizations, including the Citizenship in a Diverse World Freshman Learning Community and the Sophomore Service Learning Community, Brewery Ball, which is a weekly service opportunity specifically designed for freshmen, the Special Olympics Fall Festival, which is the largest student-organized Special Olympics event in the world, Blue Key Society, which organizes campus tours, Equity Society, which manages a real stock portfolio valued over $100,000, and the Global Citizens Program, as Lance just mentioned, which is a study abroad experience designed specifically for freshmen, which I'll be speaking about in detail in a short while. About 2 years ago, I sat exactly where you all sit now. The college process can be an extremely stressful and daunting task. However, let me assure you that in the end, it will all be worth it. Upon graduating from high school, I was a combination of relieved, excited, and anxious. I was relieved my hard work had allowed me to gain admittance to Villanova, excited about the summer ahead and going off to college on my own, and anxious because I was the only person from our graduating class going to Villanova. I knew this meant meeting new people and forming new friendships while simultaneously working hard academically. Luckily, Villanova's nationally recognized orientation program allowed me to assimilate into the Villanova community more easily than I could have ever imagined. Over the course of 3 days, I learned about student life here on campus through presentations, comical skits, and perhaps most importantly, by spending time with my fellow classmates. In addition to becoming friends with those in my orientation group, I became acquainted with the people who lived in Catherine Hall, where I lived the first semester, and in time, the people in my classes. Within the first few weeks, I became close friends with a number of students and got involved in many of the activities I mentioned earlier. During my first semester, I was enrolled in ACS, or Augustinian Culture and Seminar, Honors Philosophy, which became my favorite non-business course, Calculus, Business Dynamics, and Honors Microeconomics, which was my favorite course of freshman year. The balance between my liberal arts core classes and introductory classes provided me with the opportunity to learn how to think both critically and abstractly. At the same time, Business Dynamics introduced me to the concepts of business organization and governance, financial institutions, marketing and advertising, information technology, and other basic business concepts. In microeconomics, I studied how supply and demand affects the marketplace, why firms maintain an efficient allocation of resources, and the interaction between firms and households. During my first semester, I learned through inquisition, discussion, and sometimes debate. The seminar style of my courses stimulated an open discussion of topics and opinions. My favorite topics for my first semester include microeconomic game theory, corporate governance, deontology and Kantian ethics, and the history of Islam. As I mentioned earlier, I was a participant in the Global Citizens Study Abroad program. I know what many of you are thinking because I was thinking precisely the same thing. Why would anyone want to study abroad their second semester freshman year? You'd have to be crazy. However, I made a decision to study abroad after a presentation was given during one of my business dynamics classes. By that time, about the first week in October, I developed a close circle of friends and felt perfectly at home at Villanova. This may seem counterintuitive to some of you, but the very reasons for which I felt so secure on campus encouraged me to spend my entire second semester abroad in London. Best decision I have ever made, aside from coming to Villanova, of course. So, on January 5th, 2010, I took off from JFK International toward my final destination, London Heathrow. 21 other freshman business students and I lived, studied, and worked in London for the next 4 months. We had 10 weeks of classes with a group of esteemed British professors. Our classes, approved by Villanova, included Business Dynamics 2, Macroeconomics, British Life and Culture, and Britons at Work. As you can probably imagine, Business Dynamics 2 and Macroeconomics were continuations of our typical curriculum as freshmen. However, these classes were taught in the context of the British economy and analyzed how the United States and Britain function as global economic leaders. In British Life and Culture, we discussed British history, politics, media, culture, music, and art. The class was taught by Richard Waite, a British journalist who has made several documentaries, published numerous academic books, and appears regularly on BBC News programs. Finally, in Britons at Work, we analyzed the British workforce and marketplace in order to better understand the economy in which we would soon be working. For those first 10 weeks, I had class Monday through Thursday for about 4 hours a day. Because we had 3-day weekends, my classmates, who quickly became yet another close group of friends, and myself, planned a number of weekend trips across Europe. I spent weekends in Madrid, Paris, and Dublin. And since that wasn't quite enough, I spent a week in Italy after the conclusion of classes. So, while my friends back home at Villanova spent their spring break in such exotic places like the Jersey Shore, I unfortunately had to make do in Venice, and Florence, and Rome. However, I must disclose that a small cohort of my friends did venture across the lake to spend their spring break with myself and several others they knew in London. Following spring break, I began the internship component of the program. I worked as a Russia CIS foreign exchange and emerging markets researcher at an executive search and competitor intelligence firm called the O'Mara Group. Other institutions which employed global citizen participants included, but are not limited to, Barclays Capital, Dow Jones, the BBC, and JP Morgan Chase. This professional work experience has proven to be an invaluable asset as I begin to apply for internships this year. I've spoken to representatives from companies such as Barclays, Morgan Stanley, and Deutsche Bank, who all have emphasized that having studied abroad and having an experience with international work looks very appealing on a resume. That is why I'm compelled to encourage every student here who is interested in studying business of any kind to seriously consider this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, which I guarantee will pay dividends in your future. Now, a worldly sophomore, I find myself picking up exactly where things left off. I still have dinner with most of the same people I ate with first semester of freshman year, with a few new faces thrown in the mix. I'm currently living in Alumni Hall as a member of the Service Learning Committee, or SLC. As a participant in SLC, I volunteer at a service site every week and reflect upon my service at a 4th-hour reflection group. To fulfill my SLC requirements, I am also taking an honors ethics course, which I selected from the group of co-requisites of SLC courses. Just this week, I began the process of applying to become a member of the Equity Society, which, as I mentioned before, manages a real stock portfolio valued over $100,000. And of course, I resume my duties as a Blue Key Society tour guide, which means some of you may be seeing me again very soon. But before I conclude, I want to thank all of you for taking the time to visit Villanova today. It is truly a unique community which affords each and every person so much more than just an education. But it does a fine job at that too. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Craig. How many parents are ready to sign up for freshman year? Because that was great overview of what was only 1 year so far in the program, so thanks for doing that, Craig. Next, we'd like to introduce one of our professors, the professor of economics, David Fiorenza. Dave is, I tell you what, a high-energy person. Students love taking his class. He's also a Villanova grad, so he's got kind of a multi-perspective here. So with that, I'm going to turn the podium over to Dave.
Good morning. Thank you, Dean. Lance, I will trade you a 14-year-old for your 2 children and any future children. Well, welcome. I am honored and flattered to be here. I'm so excited. And you're thinking, 9:30 on a Sunday morning, what else could I be doing? Well, I'd be walking the dog, I'd be taking my daughter to dance class, and I'd probably be cleaning I would be, let's see, raking the leaves. So this is really, really good. Thank you, Dean. You got me out of so much work. But seriously, I left here in the early 1980s. It was actually in this room in the Connolly Center that we came and got our degrees. And I said to Dean Clay at the time, I'll be back. And here I am, so I'm really proud to be here. My travels have taken me through Fortune 500 companies, large and small, in mutual funds, insurance, banking, retail, and all along the way I was getting my postgraduate degrees, which I knew one day I would want to come back and teach. I have taught at 3 other universities, and I can say without a doubt that this is the best, not because I graduated here, but because of the flexibility that I have, and also because of the students I meet, all the professors that I'm able to connect with and work with. So what I've been doing the last 4 years here, since I have become full-time, I've been able to start up new courses. I've been able to resurrect old ones in our department in economics. There's a new course that's being taught this year that I'm really excited about. It's called the Economics of Art and Entertainment. And it was basically a spin-off of 4 students last year who came to me that knew I had a background in entertainment, arts, and some consulting in that area in the music business. And they wanted to start a new society here at Villanova. And it was called the Business in Entertainment Society. And I thought, well, let's not stop there. Let's get one course, let's develop it, let's present it to the department head, who then presents it to the dean's office. And they said, sure, run with it. And this course, we're bringing in guest speakers. We have one guest speaker who's coming in, who's a songwriter. He's written for Faith Hill, Jason Mraz, and others. And he's going to talk about royalty, publishing, and talk about the music business in general. Some of my experiences, I know Lance fairly well through the past couple of years working with him. As Dean Danko has told you about the business dynamics courses. I teach the global political economy course, and I was involved in taking the old format of international economics and putting it over into global political economy, and I was happy to work with other professors. So what I did one year was I took a group of students to Panama during spring break as a learning experience. They all came back. I almost didn't make it back. They just about left without me. It was a good experience though. They got to see the entire country, the canal. We traveled every day throughout the country to look at what would be like their Wall Street down there, the financial section, looking at all the new construction that is going on. So the students have lots of experiences here. Whether you major in economics or not, you may come across me in the next 4 years, and I hope you do. There's lots of courses I teach here, not just what Craig was talking about, microeconomics and macro, but you will be taking the global political economy and maybe some of my other electives, I hope, if you're going to be in finance and economics, such as public sector economics, urban economics. The urban economics, we take field trips. We got to see the construction of the new stadium that was being built in Chester. We got to see the construction before it was completed. We didn't gamble down there at the casino, down at Harris Casino in Chester, but the students actually got to see urban renewal at its best. And it's not just economics majors who take my courses, they're finance majors and other people who want to learn about the economy and also learn about the public sector. I think I'm going to end here with a couple of things that were told to me when I was leaving here with some of the professors. They told me, get involved, and that's what I've done. I came back, I got involved. I'm involved in the Business and Entertainment Society. I'm also an advisor to economic students, and I'm also the head of the Economic Society. In that society, what we do is we bring in speakers from the Federal Reserve. We also go down to the Federal Reserve and visit. We went to Pico Exelon to see their trading floor, to see how electricity is traded. So get involved. Experience everything that you can, whether it's here at this school or whether it's at other schools. Take it all in, absorb it, and see what fits. The third thing I can say is when you come to Villanova, I don't think you come to Villanova to find yourself. I think you come to Villanova to create yourself. And that's what I did many years ago, and that's what I see these students doing. So they're evolving. So as I say to you, look around today. Get in touch with the professors that take their time out. And it's a good small family, but yet we're large enough that, as Dean Danko said, we're starting to get nationally ranked and noticed as well. They've done some great changes. I'll reiterate, the Clay Center has been just a wonder resource for students, not just the resume writing, but bringing in companies from all around the country and meeting different people and talking to them. And that's what I think some professors have tried to do in their courses, bring in their real life experiences. What have they done? What have they seen in the various companies? And working with all the professors, not just in economics, but across the board. I wouldn't want it any other way. And I think, I hope I can say I'm here to stay. I'm not going anywhere. And if I could have a little riser like this for my classroom, because I'm really short, this is neat to be standing so high. But seriously, I'll be around afterwards if you want to ask questions, one-on-one, or I think or later on over at the Play Center. So thank you for your time. Good luck to you.
Thank you, David. He really is one of our absolute best professors. Do you have a rock band? Are you playing guitar? Any YouTube?
No YouTube.
Okay, all right. Well, I was gonna say, you can check out YouTube to see our professor in action, but we'll make sure we get something posted. Our final speaker here today is one of our seniors, so she's got a longer-term perspective as she prepares for the final year here. And it's really interesting as we talk to seniors in their final year. They are increasingly depressed as the year goes on because they just do not want to leave. That's absolutely true. I've also been, as David mentioned, he's been at some other institutions teaching, and I've had the good fortune of being in places like Michigan, UNC Chapel Hill, and Dartmouth. I have to say, there's such a different feeling here. And one of the things that just stands out for me is I don't think I've ever been in another place where seniors are like practically in tears as it's time to leave because they just don't want to go. So we're trying to develop some 5th and 6th-year programs, so perhaps we'll hear more about that later. But with that, I'm going to turn the podium over to one of our seniors, Amanda Krasowski. Amanda?
Welcome to BSB. It really is a special place, and I'm really excited to be talking to you guys today. Just because being asked to speak today was really, a bit of a bittersweet experience. So I'm really excited just to share about my time here and kind of help you make your decision about, what you can expect moving forward. Like Tinka said, I'm a senior here, and I'm a finance and accounting major, as well as an international business minor. When I think about my time here at Villanova, my favorite word to use to describe my experience is that it was full of opportunity. The exposure I've received to the business world here has been tremendous, and it all started in the classroom. Upon arriving here in the fall of 2007, I immediately, was immersed in my business experience, and the classroom environment was really, something different. You had case studies, you had simulations, and they're all intending to give you a taste of what it's really like out there in the world. So all these cases, we slaved away our homework, but really, looking back on it, it was really worthwhile. And so I think that type of classroom environment really differentiates Villanova from its peers. As well as professors, everyone, from freshman year on, has really taken an interest and really invested in you. So I can speak to that endlessly just because of the confidence that they have had in us. Going off a little bit from the classroom, I wanted to talk about what I'm involved in and things that I've really taken away during my time here. One of my first and favorite things that I do here is the Equity Society. Craig mentioned it briefly, but I've been involved since my freshman year. I really applied just because I, was really interested in investing, heard that, it's real money you can play with, wanted to be involved. So I started my freshman year, and I've loved it ever since. It's really great because there's both freshmen to seniors in the club. And the way it works is that, in the fall, each year you come up with a list of securities that you're looking to invest in. You research them, you come up with your top picks, put together your optimum portfolio, and then you manage it and follow it throughout the year. So just the type of rewarding experience, you're going to love it. One of the perks of that, though, I'm really excited about, so I want to share with you. A couple of students from the club were going to see Warren Buffett in October. So this is one of the coolest things, I think, and this is just the type of exposure that coming to Villanova gives you. We're going to see Warren Buffett in Nebraska. The way it works is a couple of schools are invited to go, and it works on a lottery system. So we've been entering, and we finally, got our year. And we get to spend a day with him at his company, take a tour, have a Q&A, have lunch. So it's just one of the things that Villanova prides itself upon. Other resources that I'm really a fond fan of are just the academic resources that you don't think that to use, but they really are useful. There's the Applied Finance Lab in Bartley, and state-of-the-art, all new terminals that have Bloomberg. So Bloomberg terminals for all you students. I had no idea, okay, we're big fancy keyboards, what do I do with this? But it's really a great tool because when you go in, you can ask the intern on duty that's overseeing the lab, how do I use this, how do I sign up to be trained? So it's great, you can take online training courses and you have that added skill to your skill set and you have that to market yourself as you look for internships and other jobs. And speaking of jobs, a lot of companies do come on campus. It's another resource that Villanova prides itself on. From freshman year, professors encourage you to attend different sessions just for professional development. The companies that come on campus are, Bank of America, JP Morgan, Barclays, tons of big names that as a freshman I was just overwhelmed and had no idea, but ventured off to see them just because I wanted to experience, what my next 4 years would be like. And through this on-campus recruiting program, is how I got my summer internship last year. I interned at Barclays Capital in New York City for 10 weeks, and I was fortunate to have a great experience. I really, knew I liked finance, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And the experience was a 10-week program with 2 5-week rotations. And after those rotations, my last year of work, they told us that, your final offer decision. So I'm fortunate enough, to be speaking to you full-time offer, so I know what I'm doing after graduation. And a lot of my friends are in the same boat. So it's really, due to Villanova's great preparation that I'm fortunate enough to say that. Speaking a little bit about my international experience, as an IB minor, I've also been able to gain a lot of experiences overseas. There are opportunities both for the semester and for the summer, but I chose to participate in Villanova's summer program in London. It's a little bit different from what I did, but it's also an internship and a class. I interned at the BBC, and it was a very cool experience. As a sophomore, I had a little finance knowledge, but I wanted to put it to use, but I also wanted to do something cool. And at a media company, I worked under the financial controller, and I did a lot of work for the budgets and the forecasts for Dancing with the Stars. So it was really cool just to have that type of experience, because I love the show. I watched it, with my friends freshman year. So just that type of experience was really beneficial and really something to talk about. And the class that I also took a class at the LSE, the London School of Economics, and it was the hardest thing I have ever taken. But it has honestly been one of my favorite talking points. During an interview, everyone asks, what is this thing at the LSE? How did you manage? What was your experience like? There are students from across the world in the class, and it honestly has made me, just more diverse and more able to speak to the different, finance attitudes around the world. So that was a really great experience. Outside of the classroom, I really do believe that there's something for everyone here at Villanova. It sounds corny, I know. But there's plenty of opportunities for you to become involved in, and it's really up to you to make the most of it. There's a lot of service opportunities. Craig spoke a little bit about them. But there's Special Olympics, which I'm involved in. It's really great because you can take as much of a leadership position in that as you want. I'm on the committee for this year, so I'm super excited about that. I also took part in the Habitat Break trip. There's also a lot of break trips offered during the spring and fall semesters. I actually went to Arkansas. It was just a bit of an eye-opening experience. I've never been that far west. Even though I've been to Europe, I've never been that far west. But it was really just, cool to meet people that I otherwise wouldn't have met during my time here at Villanova. So it was just eye-opening to work with a family that was going to be living in the house that we were working on. And it was an experience I recommend. And Villanova highly encourages this type of service. I put myself out of my comfort zone, because that type of experience is very individual to the school. Speaking on some other things, I'm a member of Greek Life. I'm the vice president of my sorority. And as fun as that is, it's also taught me a lot. I've learned so many leadership skills that I used at my internship in the classroom, just because you learn how to manage a group of 120 girls. And between all of that, something's bound to happen. Even though you plan for everything, something always comes up. So, it's really, you just learn. I'm also a peer advisor for the business school. So between the freshmen, I have a handful of you guys And just, talk to you about possible majors and the classes that Villanova offers, like which, do you have an option, which one should you choose, what I've heard about other professors. So it's nice to have that kind of connection with the underclassmen, because as you grow older, you kind of, are in a routine, and it's nice to have that connection. That's a little bit of what I do here, but I hope this is helpful in understanding for you of what Villanova has to offer. There's so many opportunities available here, and it's up to you to decide what you want to do, but Villanova is a great place. I'm so jealous of each and every one of you. My time at Villanova has been the best years of my life, and everyone says that. Everyone says college is the best 4 years, but it really is. So wherever you go, make the most of it, because it's going to be a time to remember.
Thank you, Amanda. That was terrific. Now come to Villanova, see the world, London, Italy, and Arkansas. So we're pleased to provide those opportunities. You could certainly tell from Amanda's experience that she's enjoyed quite a bit here, and glad that she was able to share some of that with us. We're going to now turn this over to you folks for dialogue and questions and answers, and I'm going to have our associate dean lead that conversation. One of the things that we do teach, or at least we hope we teach here at the business school, is that you always have to surround yourself with great people and hire people that are better than yourselves. And I think that I didn't elaborate on it much. One thing that really makes a difference for us too is the staff that we have. They really do care. Most of them, like myself, have been through this with having students at college. You might have met today in the back is Brenda Stover, who directs our professional program. Sheldon is behind her. She works at the Clay Center, and she assures everybody stays on track with graduating. Kathy Mongiello is floating in and out. We have this incredible staff, all remarkable in their own way, and I'm extremely fortunate as the dean to have people like us like that here at the business school. And probably, one of the best is our associate dean, Melinda German, who I'm going to ask, since she knows far more than any of us, to come up here and lead us through the question and answer. Melinda?
Welcome, everybody. I just want to take a couple of minutes before we jump into the Q&A. I want to thank you all for coming today, for taking the time to spend some time with us. I know this is a very exciting time for all of you, and I know it can be a very anxious time for all of you. So I just hope that you have fun with this college process and that you learn a lot as you're going through it. My advice to you is basically to do your homework. And I know that's probably not what you want to hear, more homework. But I think to learn as much as you possibly can about the different schools that you're looking at. You've worked really hard during your high school years, and to just take advantage of that and look around. And with that, you should take advantage of what we have to offer you today. Because after your tours, we will be up in Bartlett Hall. I know a couple of folks mentioned that. But you will have an opportunity to meet with some of our faculty, with some of our staff, and with a number of our students. And I just advise you to pick their brains as much as you can. Visit the finance lab, as Amanda mentioned, stop at the Clay Center. And I also giving all of you an open invitation if you'd like to come back to visit with us again. If you want to come back and sit in a class and spend the day with us, please just let us know and we will arrange that for you. I know that's easier for some of you than for others in terms of distance, but we would love to have you come back. And with that, we're going to open it up to questions. I know we're a little pressed for time here, and as soon as we finish up here, there will be a presentation on it, financial assistance and admissions. So if you have questions about that specifically, if I could just ask you to hold those for the admissions and financial assistance folks, I think that would be really helpful. And I'm just here to field the questions, not necessarily answer them, so feel free to ask questions of anybody on the panel. Questions?
If you're accepted into the College of Business, can you pick up a minor in the College of Arts and Sciences, like a language?
Absolutely. And we encourage students to do that. You can actually do a major within the College of Arts and Sciences without taking the College of Arts and Sciences core curriculum. So with languages, a little bit more opportunity. But you can certainly do a minor in a language. You can do a minor in poli-sci and sociology and psychology and criminal justice. And we do encourage students to do that. Absolutely.
interested to do a double major outside of the business college?
It depends. We have a number of students who do that, literally a handful of students who do that. Part of it depends on how many AP credits a student comes in with, so how much flexibility there is in the curriculum. It can be done. We do have students doing it. Again, not many. We do have a student who's doing engineering and business, which is a challenge only because of the requirements for each of the different programs and the structure of the engineering program, how lockstep it is. But we do have a student who is now a sophomore who was doing that and has been very successful with it. So it's all possible. It just takes a little bit of planning. Yes.
In regards to the freshman and second semester program abroad, is that a competitive concern? Besides the 2.75, is it that the top 20, I mean, there could be a lot of people that apply for it. My first part of the question, and second is from the moving board side, you sign up for a moving board here for Villanova for a year. Does that part get, or you don't think, from the moving board process?
I'm going to pass that over to Lance. And for those of you who could not hear the question was, how competitive is it to get into the Global Citizens Program, the second semester freshman program, and how does the room and board dollars work? Because you're paying for your room and board and then you're leaving.
In terms of the application to the program, yes, the program is competitive. We never accept more than between 20 to 25 students in the program.
You have to keep it really close.
Okay. We never accept more than 20, 25 students in the program because we're not interested in creating another Villanova enclave someplace other than outside of Philadelphia. And so the applications themselves are the basis for the students being selected or not selected in the program. All that information is on our website, and we can point you in that direction when we have some flyers. In terms of the room and board question, let me start with study abroad in general, which is to say that everyone that studies overseas during the academic year pays Villanova tuition, and then the students pay room and board to their host university or to the program that's facilitating their study abroad. So students are not charged room and board for the semester that they're overseas. Because we have that policy, it means that all financial aid transfers. Again, I know you will be looking at a number of our peer institutions, and many of them have situations where you get your institutional aid if you go on this program, but only your federal aid. We don't get involved with that at all financial aid transfers. For the Global Citizens Program, you are billed Villanova tuition. You are not billed the room and board. We pick up the accommodation. There's not a room fee. Students are on their own for getting their own food.
20 to 25, that is how many students would actually apply for that?
We typically have, it's such a self-selecting group, we typically only have 40 to 50 students that are applying for it.
Can you talk about when you elect to go into the school, and then typically, and when you elect to choose your major within the school?
Students at Villanova, when they're applying to Villanova, apply to one of the 4 colleges from the beginning. So you're applying to arts and sciences, to nursing, to engineering, or to business, and you were accepted into one of those 4 colleges or schools as a freshman. Students who are in business are asked to declare their major in the beginning of second semester sophomore year. Although that happens, and then they change that major a handful of times, and over the next year, but that's when they're asked to first declare a major, and we have a number of programming opportunities to help students make those decisions. Yes?
When you apply to any number of schools, how hard is it to transfer?
From another school within Villanova. It's competitive. We basically suggest to students that if you're interested in business from the get-go, apply to the business school from the start, and not try to get into arts and to apply to arts and sciences, enter through arts and sciences, and then transfer to business. Sometimes that works out for a lot of students, and other times it does not. It is competitive. Yeah.
Heard a lot from the students about Wall Street, and that's great, good careers and stuff. But what what percentage, if you have the data, of graduates go kind of corporate, non-Wall Street, IBM, GE, Procter & Gamble type, or is it really kind of a Wall Street research analysis, corporate finance type of focus coming out of the business school?
I don't have those numbers offhand. No, I don't have those numbers offhand. I think there are a number of students who go the corporate route. GE Capital was coming in this week to speak to the students. There are a number of, we had a careers in corporate finance panel last week. I think the students themselves always they come in thinking Wall Street investment banking, some of them not even knowing what that truly means, but it's glamorous to many students. But we do have a number of students who get jobs in corporate, not just big financial services. I just don't know.
How workable is it for a student to do a science major or a technology major and a business minor? Is that
Yeah, that's very doable. We have a couple of two ways of doing that. Basically, we have our traditional business minor program. Again, competitive to get into if you're in one of the other colleges. But that is a program that runs fall and spring semester. Students take business courses along with their sciences or computer science classes during their fall and spring semester. We also have a summer program that's called our Summer Business Institute, which is a 10-week intense summer program where students earn 16 credits in one summer and they earn their business minor during that summer. And we have roughly 90 students each summer who go through that program and earn a business minor. So that is very doable. There are a lot of engineers, a lot of computer science students in that as well. Other questions? Thank you very much.
All right, Dean German mentioned they're going to do an admission and financial assistance presentation here next. And then afterwards, you're welcome to come over to Bartley Hall, where we'll all be there. And in addition to that, we're going to be joined by a number of our faculty as well. So we encourage you to stop by, ask any questions, take a look around. And I hope you have a great rest of the day. And I wish you well as you work your way through the admissions process at various colleges. Thank you very much.